Chair recognizes Mr. Strama.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This amendment is in reference to the amendment we discussed earlier regarding making it a priority for the expenditure of the Emerging Technology Fund when it makes grants under the Advanced Research Superiority section of its funds, that they prioritize in making those grants clean energy research and development. This will only be for the next 2 years while there is this current opportunity to establish a leadership position in this emerging industry of clean energy, and while there is the opportunity by spending money in this area to draw down all the federal funds flowing into this area, and attract those funds to Texas. Oh.
Following amendment to the amendment, clerk will read the amendment.
It now just makes it our highest priority.
Highest?
It should be our highest priority. What's a higher priority to get?
Amendment to the amendment by Strama.
I need to tell you, hold on 1 second. Chair recognizes Mr. Strong.
Chair recognizes Mr. Strama.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This amendment addresses Mr. Otto's concern about making general law by requiring 70%, which was my original draft, and instead states the legislature's intent that the highest priority, but without a specific percentage, but the highest priority for expenditure of these funds should be in clean energy, because we are an energy state. We have been an energy state for the past 100 years. Energy is what made us a prosperous state. Energy is what built this state, and we want to be a leader in the energy industry for the next 100 years as we were in the past 100 years.
Mr. Speaker, will the gentleman yield?
Yes. I'll yield for a question.
You say now in your revised amendment that it says you'll put the highest priority toward those items, okay? What does that force the fund personnel to do as far as what they look at? For example, if one of our great universities came up with some wonderful emerging technology ideas, let's say in the world of nanotechnology or in the world of medical sciences or in the world of brain technology, or stopping Alzheimer's or other diseases, that would not have as high a priority as some other research which might be less productive in the overall goals for the state of Texas than that. Even though we are an energy state, we agree with that, doesn't mean we're not also an emerging technology state in the areas of things like nanotechnology and brain science and everything else.
I understand your concern. Let me address it. Point number one, nanotechnology, most areas of nanotechnology actually do contribute to clean energy and would qualify. But I understand your concern about medical research. This amendment actually doesn't affect the grants made by the Emerging Technology Fund to commercialize the innovations in medical research that are being made at our institutions today. Okay. This amendment only affects that portion of the Emerging Technology Fund that is used to recruit faculty from other states. We then hope that those faculty develop innovations that we can subsequently commercialize and capitalize on.
Mark, do not some of our great universities reach out to try to bring great minds into the state in lots of different areas, not just in the area of clean fuels and technology in that area, but in others, and try to bring them here so that we can also start those kinds of productions?
Under other circumstances, Representative Madden, I would agree with you, but here are the circumstances we have today. Number one, the renewable energy industry will be the fastest growing industry in this country for the foreseeable future. Number two, there is a tremendous amount of federal money flowing into this industry, and our investments in that industry, our investments in research talent, will attract to Texas the billions of dollars of federal R&D flowing into this area. And number three, this is only for 2 years, because we're saying right now, as this market accelerates rapidly and as federal money flows into it, we want to be a leader in it. 2 years from now, we may have a different priority, but our priority in the next 2 years is in the area of clean energy.
What you're looking at, Mark, obviously we know that things change in a 2-year period. And what we have in the way of science today and the changing science that's out there the new sciences that 2 years from now might be there and might be available for us to take advantage of, you're in fact saying, or you're discriminating against the use of those funds, are you not?
I'm prioritizing.
You're prioritizing them.
The industry that has made this
When you, in
great.
fact, in looking into this crystal ball of what we're going to see 2 years from now, don't know really what's out there, do we?
Well, that's why this is only for the biennium that comes. 2 years from now, we can have another discussion about what type of faculty we need to recruit. But here's the point I want to make to you about this. In the past 2 years, Texas institutions of higher education have been passed over for major research grant by Texas-based oil and gas companies. Those research grants have gone to Berkeley, they've gone to Stanford, they've gone to Colorado. If we were getting beat by Stanford and Berkeley and Colorado in football, the way we're getting beat in renewable energy related research, we'd have rolled the whole athletic department by now.
What does this bill do as far as allowing those kind of researchers and personnel to come into our universities? Is there anything that really is going to encourage them to be here? Because
yeah, that's exactly what we do with this money. Remember, this isn't a bill. This is a rider expressing our intent that in the appropriation of funds for the Emerging Technology Fund, which I'm happy to support, I want them to go out. This specific money that is affected by this rider is the money we have given the Emerging Tech Fund specifically to recruit faculty to Texas. That's what the funds are for.
But by nature, you're trying to change our policy in that our drive. We have Nobel laureates in this state, do we not? At some of our major universities.
We do.
In fields other than emerging, other than fuel technologies, right?
That's the problem. We don't have
It's
enough
a problem to have Nobel laureates
renewable
here?
energy related disciplines. The problem is that we're losing research opportunities and federal grant opportunities in the area of renewable energy because we haven't invested in recruiting top-tier faculty in those disciplines. We're losing those grant opportunities. Even when it's Texas-based companies making the grants, we're losing them to California and Colorado because they've invested in the top-tier faculty that attract those types of research grants.
Mr. Speaker.
I'll yield for a question from Representative Bowe.
Thank you.
He yields.
Mr. Strama, what you're trying to say is that you'd like to bring more balance to the Texas Emerging Technology Fund. And Texas is an industry leader in energy, and you would like for us to be a industry leader in renewable energy as well. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly, particularly at a time when the federal government is investing so much in R&D in this area. If we recruit the best faculty, we will attract those R&D grants.
And this provision is sunsetted so we can revisit this?
This only survives 2 years, and I might not support this provision 2 years from now.
And then we'll talk about rebalancing then, but right now I think you have a good amendment.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, with gentleman yield.
Will you
Be happy
yield?
to.
Gentleman
And
yields.
also, yours says clean energy, right?
Right.
So that could be
Clean coal,
clean coal,
carbon sequestration.
a potential nuclear technology
Nuclear with
that
nuclear.
doesn't put off bad byproducts or anything like that. So,
And I want to emphasize,
and-
Representative Phillips, this isn't even an anti-oil and gas
right,
amendment.
this could be
When I-
for oil. This could be technology to help us get oil out of the ground in ways that we couldn't before, including off the Gulf of Mexico, where we have some very deep oil deposits, and we're almost there. We just need a little more technology, and we probably have enough oil down there that could solve a lot of the state's problems.
Let me be even more specific. I mentioned that we've lost $800 million in research grants from Texas-based companies to California and Colorado in the last 2 years. Those grants were from ExxonMobil, ConocoPhillips, and British Petroleum. Oil and gas companies are giving money for R&D and clean energy. The problem is, while they've always given their money for geosciences and petroleum engineering to Texas and Texas A&M, they give their money for renewable energy to Stanford, Berkeley, and Colorado. I find that unacceptable. But I don't think that they should give their money to an inferior talent. I think we ought to have the superior talent so that they want to give their money to us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's acceptable.
Strama sends up an amendment.
Mr. Strama sends up an amendment to the amendment. It's acceptable to the author. Is there objection? Hearing none.